Blackburn. A town full of rhythm and routine. The kind of place where small businesses prop up entire families, and the streets remember your face. Where local shops are more than just places of trade. Their stories, struggles, reputations built brick by brick. And in one tightly packed corner of town, two shops stood shoulder to shoulder. Quickshine and Tyres. At first glance, nothing seemed off. Quickshine handled car washes. Fast, thorough, reliable. Tyres, run by a man named Pharaoh Sulion, specialized in wheels, grips, and long-time trust. For a while, things flowed. Customers often bounced between the two. Grab a shine, get new tires. It was convenient, efficient, peaceful. But peace has a way of pretending to last forever. Right until something cracks. That crack came in early 2019. Quickshine made a quiet, strategic move. They announced they were expanding their services to include tire sales. A smart business decision to most. But to Pharaoh Sulion, it was a slap in the face. It wasn't just competition. It was betrayal. An invasion. He saw it as an enemy climbing through the back window of everything he'd built. To him, this wasn't just a shop trying to survive. It was someone coming for his bread and butter, his turf, his pride. From that point forward, tension began to stir. It started small. Cold greetings, suspicious glances across the shared pavement. Staff giving each other side eyes instead of handshakes. But tension is never good at hiding. Especially not on a street where everybody watches everything. Within weeks, people were talking. Customers whispered about heated arguments. Workers were seen shouting in broad daylight. Then came the calls to the police. The reports piled up. Neighbors complained of brawls breaking out on the street. Metal scraps were allegedly thrown between the two sides. Employees from both shops were seen squaring up, throwing punches. Whatever calm had existed between Quickshine and Tyres was now shattered. Every day felt like another chance for violence to erupt. But what no one knew at the time was that the worst was yet to come. December 4th, 2019. It was barely past 2:30 in the morning. Most of Blackburn was asleep, windows dark, streets empty. But in the shadows near Tyres, two figures moved with purpose. They carried fuel cans in their hands. Not for a generator, not for a car, for destruction. They walked silently, carefully, until they reached the shop. They poured petrol across old tires, stacking it like firewood. They soaked a nearby vehicle for good measure. Then, without hesitation, they lit a match. And just like that, the sky turned red. Flames devoured everything in minutes. Black smoke choked the air, rising above rooftops, visible from blocks away. Fire crews arrived and fought with everything they had, but the damage was too deep, too fast. The flames didn't just consume tires. They scorched years of hard work, thousands of pounds, up in smoke. And of all the branches Sulion owned, it was the one sitting right next to Quickshine that got torched. Coincidence? He didn't think so. To Pharaoh Sulion, that fire wasn't random. It was targeted, intentional, a warning, a move designed to humiliate him, wound his business, and shake his standing in the community. Photos of the aftermath surfaced. One showed the tires mid-burn, orange fire dancing like serpents around them. To some, it looked like vandalism. To Sulion, it looked like war. And in war, people strike back. That was the night Sulion crossed a line. Not in public, not with fists, but in his mind. He decided that he wasn't going to yell anymore. He wasn't going to file complaints. He was going to finish it. He wanted Mr. Khan, the owner of Quickshine, dead. And he didn't want it done in secret. He wanted it loud, public, bold. He wanted Khan shot in broad daylight, right outside his business, while Sulian watched from the comfort of his own shop. So he made a call. He reached out to Ayaz Hussein, a man with deep ties in Blackburn's underground circles, a man who could connect the right dots if you needed something done off the books. Hussein brought in Luis Otway, who then built a small, deadly operation. The crew came together like pieces of a puzzle. Zamir Raja, the trigger man. He wasn't just a common thug. He had a history so dark it made even seasoned detectives flinch. Sexual assault, child abduction, aggravated robbery. His record screamed chaos. He didn't shy away from blood. Anthony Enos, the getaway driver. Smooth, quiet, controlled. He was the kind of guy who knew how to disappear fast and not say a word. The plan was locked in. A car was arranged, a weapon provided, a timeline established. All they had to do was pull up to Quickshine, take the shot, and drive away. Just another job, just another payday. But nothing about what happened next would feel ordinary. The morning of the hit arrived with the usual Blackburn chill. Raja and Ennis waited in Bolton for their lift. 2 more names joined the operation. Judy Chapman and her partner Utman Satya. Their mission was to drive the hitmen to Blackburn, hand them the keys to a second car, and stick close by to collect them afterward. They arrived at the handover point and met Kashif Manzoor, the man who had prepped the Toyota Aventis to be the murder car. But there was a snag. The battery was dead. Manzoor popped the hood, jump-started the engine, and handed over the vehicle. Ennis jumped into the driver's seat. Raja took the back, his hand gripping a loaded firearm. They pulled off. Meanwhile, 19-year-old Aya Hachem stepped outside her house, completely unaware she was walking toward fate. She wasn't involved in any feud. She didn't even know the people at either business. Aya was a law student, a daughter, a big sister. She was focused, kind, driven. Her family had left Lebanon for a better life, and Aya had made them proud, top of her class, full of ambition. That day, she was simply walking to Lidl to get groceries, but her path would intersect with something sinister. As the Toyota rolled up, Sulian stood in his shop, eyes fixed on the street. He knew what was about to happen. He didn't flinch. He didn't panic. He watched. Manzoor stood nearby with the jump leads still in his hand. When the car drove by, he turned his head slightly, almost as if to acknowledge what was coming. Across the street, Mr. Khan was in view. Raja locked eyes with him from the back seat. Then, the gun came up. First shot, missed. It slammed into the wall of Quickshine. The second didn't miss. Aya Hachem had unknowingly stepped into the line of fire. The bullet tore through her shoulder and exited violently, lodging itself in a nearby utility pole. She collapsed instantly. No warning, no time to scream. Her blood spilled across the pavement. Raja and Ennis sped away. People on the street ran toward her. Some screamed, others froze. A few brave strangers tried to save her, checking her pulse, giving CPR, begging her to hang on. But it was too late.
Stop happened, basically, I saw the car, saw the gun. They went fast first, and then they came back, they shoot. They're holding the gun on me, like, you know, when they came around, I said, what? They start shooting on me. She was just walking around. She was walking, she was going to go somewhere, I think.
So you think that they were shooting at you initially, and then caught her instead?
Aye.
Responsive? Is she breathing?
No, she's not responsive. She's got a very weak pulse. We're just starting CPR. Go on, keep going, guys. Doing well. Keep going, guys.
Aya Hachem, just 19 years old, full of promise, died on the street that day, caught in a feud that had absolutely nothing to do with her. The shooters had failed, the target lived, but an innocent girl was gone. Police moved fast. Within an hour, they found the Toyota Aventis abandoned nearby. Inside, fingerprints, fuel residue, evidence, and just like that, the net began to close. Raja knew it, so he ran. He left the country, disappearing into Portugal. Ennis followed 3 days later, using a family member's passport. They met up abroad, but they didn't stick together for long. The pressure was too much. Then Raja made a critical mistake. He came back. He thought he could slip through. He arrived in London, tried to board a train to Manchester from Euston Station.
Stay where you are, yeah? Keep your hands out, alright? I've got a taser, okay? So just stay where you are, yeah? Just stay where you are.
I'll put my hands up, yeah?
No.
Ennis tried to keep running. From Portugal, he headed to Spain, but his trail was hot. It didn't take long. He was caught and extradited. Back in Blackburn, things exploded. Police began raiding every property linked to Sulian and the others. They took phones, surveillance footage, burner devices. 23 people were eventually arrested. The investigation was massive. More than 88,000 hours of CCTV footage combed, call logs analyzed, GPS data traced. It was meticulous, relentless, and right at the center of it all was Pharaoh Sulian. He tried to keep calm, refused to talk, avoided attention, but footage didn't lie. In one video, you could see him standing, eyes locked on the street as the shooting unfolded. He didn't blink. He didn't act surprised, because he knew. Inside the police station, people started cracking. Ayaz Hussein broke first. As soon as detectives showed him the footage of the shooting, he looked like he'd seen a ghost, sweating, panicking, silent. That's when they knew they had him. The rest followed like dominoes. In court, the entire conspiracy came to light. Sulian, the man who sparked it all. Hussein, the link to the underworld. Otway, the logistics planner. Raja, the executioner. Ennis, the driver. Chapman and Satya, the transport team. Manzoor, the car prep guy. Abu Bakr, Satya, tried to burn the car. Cali Bainbridge provided a fake alibi. Each of them had blood on their hands. The judge didn't hold back. Sulian, life in prison, minimum 34 years. Raja, life in prison, minimum 34 years. Ennis, 33 years. Hussein, life in prison, minimum 32 years. Otway, 59 years. Manzoor, life in prison, minimum 27 years. Abu Bakr, life in prison, minimum 28 years. Utman Satya, life in prison, minimum 28 years. Chapman, 15 years. Bainbridge, 23 months. But none of it brought Aya back. Aya Hachem came to the UK with hope. She worked hard. She chased dreams. She was never supposed to be in anyone's crosshairs. Her story isn't just sad, it's infuriating. She wasn't a rival. She wasn't a threat. She was just in the way. And because of someone else's pride, rage, and stupidity, her family will never see her again. That's the cost of unchecked ego. That's the price of violence dressed as business. If you've listened this far, thank you. And if this story moved you, if it made you feel something, then do me a favor. Subscribe to my channel, Balaclavas. We dig deep into the stories that matter, the ones you weren't supposed to hear. And this is just the beginning.